BYU beat Utah. Utah did not have this game stolen from them. The officials were not conspiring against Utah. BYU held Utah to 0 points in the second half. Their offense is non-existent. They're 1-5 now. I can't help you. The commissioner is not going to pick up. Brett Gilmark's not going to pick up the phone and go, "Oh, you're right, Mark Harlan. Oh, the game was stolen from you, and honestly, every other game was too. We'll move you to 9-0. Sorry." 22-21 final. I will get into more tomorrow. I really do hate. As excited as I was to talk up BYU, as excited as I was to talk up Rice Eccles, I hate that this has completely become a talk about Mark Harlan, the AD at Utah, and Kyle Whittingham and their response to this game. But BYU won the game, and it was cool to see their fans, 30% of Rice Eccles, react to that. It was not cool to see Utah fans throw trash on the field. Iowa State loses to Kansas. What was that? If you're BYU, by the way, this is a struggle. It's like BYU beat Utah, right, and watched Ole Miss beat Georgia, and watched you watched a couple teams like Miami lost, but these were all like not these. I don't know if these were quality losses or kind of quality losses, or I'm afraid BYU might drop out of the top 25 based on what we know about the AP poll voters. Yeah, seems like close wins are actually less valuable than losses. If only BYU would have lost, they'd have moved up. But nope, they won the game. So we'll see where they land this week. As for Iowa State, 7-2, they should stay in the top 25. But Kansas, Jeff Grimes, they figured it out. The defense of Kansas that's not how you say that. That's not English. Has been worse now. And the offense has been better. 45 points against Iowa State. Rocco Beck was solid. 383 yards and 3 touchdowns. But Devin Neal, the ability to control the run game for Kansas, and Jeff Grimes now settling in Lawrence, they moved to 3-6. And when they play BYU next week, that's going to be a huge game because Kansas all of a sudden is on a bit of a roll. They're just playing better football. As for Iowa State, you now have to go to the Big 12 championship and win it. And I just don't think that's going to happen. For Colorado, you're happy that Iowa State lost. You'll probably jump Kansas State, by the way. And you're happy that LSU got killed. Colorado is a top 15 team. And all of the, there's no way Colorado gets an at-large bid. They're now 5-1 in line to go to the Big 12 championship game. And even if they don't go to the Big 12 championship game, if somebody else finds their way there, which I guess at this point they're the only one-loss team. They're the only one-loss team, right? They could go 10-2, go to the Big 12 championship game, and still possibly have a chance at an at-large bid. The reason being, if you're number 15, Colorado, with 3 games to go, and you win those 3 games, you would obviously move from 15 into the top 11 for sure. So we're going to have to explore where Colorado sits here in a couple weeks. West Virginia. Does West Virginia unfire Neil Brown? They're 4-2 in Big 12 play all of a sudden. They did lose to Pitt. They did lose to Penn State. But now they're winning. They went on the road and they upset Cincinnati. I thought Cincinnati would win this game for sure. Corey Kiner to Brennan Sorsby. And it didn't happen. And Sorsby was great. Kiner was pretty solid too. But Nico Marchiol, I just love watching him play football. I know Garrett Green has to start when healthy. But God bless, Nico Marchiol is fun to watch. And again, it's this like, we look around the room, and the second you look at Neil Brown and you look him in the eyes and say, Neil, we're probably going to have to fire you. Neil says, not so fast. I promise I'll win. And then he does. And he goes out and he wins. And Nico Marchiol is just a dog. West Virginia, sadly for West Virginia fans, is fun to watch play football. Then there's, I don't know, I guess you got to keep him. Trust the climb. Then there's Arizona State. This was a fun one. I think UCF, Dylan Risk is so awesome. RJ Harvey is so good at football. And while I am confident that they are catching a better stride, they're now 4-6, 2-5 in conference play. I do believe they're playing some of their best football at the wrong time, though. They'll have a shot to beat Utah in a couple weeks, but they ran into an Arizona State team. It's now, 7-2 and 4-2 in conference play. And this was no Cam Scatterbo. And they still won. This was Sam Levitt, 3 touchdown passes. Out of his 16 completions, 3 of them touchdown passes. I didn't think that Levitt was that spectacular. but he did enough. QBR of 63.2, which was worse than Dylan Risk, who didn't throw a single touchdown and had an interception. And RJ Harvey was a stud. But Arizona State still put up 35 points and showed, hey, Kenny Dillingham's team is pretty darn complete, even without one of the best players in the entire conference. That's good. Congrats, Arizona State. You're 7-2. You're ranked next week. Good for you guys. We should have Colorado, Arizona State, Iowa State, Kansas State, BYU ranked. Agreed? Agreed. TCU buried Oklahoma State. Final score 38-13. Did you see this game? 38-13. TCU over Oklahoma State. What? Throw up in my mouth. I think I said to somebody, Wild Ute, Philip is his real name. Wild Ute showed me around Utah today, and I remarked, I think Kyle Whittingham and Mike Gundy, by and large, are the same person, where when you're winning, it's awesome to have that crazy uncle guy on your staff as your head coach. Like, yep, that's my guy. He's insane, but we love him because he's crazy. But the second you start losing, that's when it gets a lot less fun. And Kyle Whittingham is a lot less fun when he's losing. And Mike Gundy just secured the fact that he will finally have a season at Oklahoma State where he's below 500. He's 0-7 in Big 12 play. A seventh-year quarterback, the Doak Walker Award winner, and 3 elite wide receivers. 20 of 22 starters return from a 10-win team, and you go 3-7. I have a theory. Humor me. If that is what happens, and all of the players are the same from last year, wouldn't that mean that the only difference could be the coaching and the development? Because they won 10 games with that same amount of with all the same guys who were back. So the only thing that could have gone really wrong, I don't think the players got worse in the offseason. Interesting. Fire somebody, probably. It's easy for me to sit in the podcast chair with my cute little microphone in a hotel room in Salt Lake City and say to fire somebody. But you know what happens if this podcast, okay, Kyle Whittingham, hey, Andy Ludwig, hey, oh, Mike Gundy, hello, hi, it's me. If this podcast goes 7 weeks and not a single person watches it, if this podcast goes 7 weeks and 50 people per week watch it, this podcast goes 7 weeks and gets 13 listens, I get fired. I am still in this chair because that's not the case. If you go 7 weeks without fulfilling the duties of your job or falling flat on your face, someone gets fired. Oh, fancy for the guy with the microphone to say. As Mike Gundy would put it, I'm one of the poors, saying that I have the right to ridicule your athletic program or your football team. Because if I don't do my job, I lose my job. And when you don't do your job, you lose your job. So there you go. That's it. Mark Harlan, I don't even know, man. Wow. That's going to be freaking the rest of this week, dude. I can't wait for the apology. I can't wait because I know it's coming. I know a guy like that, a pro, cannot wake up tomorrow morning like that and go, oh, I defend myself. I defend my comments. There's no way. You come back tomorrow, BYU will be first in the Locked On Big 12 Power Rankings. Utah will be on the surface of the sun, where certainly they will disintegrate, and that is a shame. But where else would I put them in my power rankings? Oh, you know what? Actually, Utah should be first in my power rankings. All their losses were stolen from them by the Big 12. I forgot. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to be insensitive. My bad. Shoot. Well, Utah won, BYU too, I guess. I mean, Utah technically beat Arizona if you think about it. Well, and they beat Houston because the referee stole that one. I can't find a loss now that I think of, well, shoot. Undefeated Utah. I like the sound of that. Isn't that what we said preseason? Interesting. Odd. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. 1:45 local time. A little 3:45 in the old mental clock Eastern time. Enjoyed my time watching BYU win at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Enjoyed my time watching Utah play. Watching the players do what they do. And I could go for too long. I already have. This has been, it always will be, Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose grande. Now, watch this. This is behind the scenes. I'm going to do, I think there's like a video thing that's supposed to, watch. Cool.